Hey there, spooky friends, and welcome to an episode of the Scaryish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to tell you guys about some cool topics. I think it's cool because I like weird, history, artifact type things, and I think yours is cool because ghosts.
Because ghosts. I am very excited to be doing this episode. For those of you who are listening to the normal podcast version, this won't seem any different to you in any way, shape, or form. However, we are recording this topic episode live for the first time ever. We do our story times live all the time, so we have plenty of practice with that. But we've had people say, hey, dogs, why don't you do a topic episode? And that's mainly because we do them at 4 a.m., and we do our research between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., and that's why. But we put a goal up on our live streams for the Storytime/Pasta Time episodes and said, hey, if you hit this goal, we'll do a live topic episode. And everyone hit it in 2 shows, and we're like, well, fuck, now we got to do it. So here we are on a beautiful Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. with natural lighting in the office.
Yeah, it's weird having, like, natural light in here instead of the fan light that's just bright and yellow and...
Yeah, and speaking on a very specific mindset of the person who edits the audio, it's going to be weird to edit a topic episode with car noise in the background, even though we sometimes get them at 4 a.m. out here. But
it's just not as prevalent as it is right now, so...
I just want to say shout out to everyone who watches the episodes live. You all are amazing, and thank you for the donations, and this episode is definitely a reward. Also, shout out to all our wonderful patrons over there at patreon.com/Scaryish podcast. Because our topics were picked by them. So Robin put up a poll and said, hey, of these like 9 different options, which ones would you like to hear? And the top 2 were a mysterious location, I think.
Yeah, like a mysterious location and haunting/ghost.
Yeah, haunting/ghost. So Robin took the mysterious location, and I said I'll take the other one. And I'm pretty excited to see how this turned out. I'm really happy with my topic. I'm going to be covering quarantine hauntings, so something very topical.
Whoa, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Robin, what are you going to be covering this week?
I'm going to be covering the mysterious ancient relics of Brazil.
Nice.
It's specific ones. It's not generalized. It's a very specific instance. So.
Right on. All right. So before we get going, I'm going to go ahead and mark the typical spot where we just jump into our topics and say, welcome everyone to this live episode of Scaryish. If you're watching over there at Twitch, at YouTube, or for the first time ever, Facebook and the Facebook group. We actually took some of the donations that you sent us and we put it towards a subscription to a rather expensive platform that I've been using as a free trial for the last 3 years. And because of that, I have a few more things I can do to play around with it. So shout out. I want to say this like from the bottom of my heart for Serial. Shout out to Glitch Grim. Justin, you are amazing because I think every live episode we've ever had, he has been there and he is a moderator and he has this community's back because one of our biggest concerns is always we don't want trolls. We don't want people to say rude and horrible things. And I feel like Glitch is the shield that guards the realm of men. And
he's what is it? What is he from?
He's a watcher on the wall.
No, he's like from Asgard. What is his name? Heimdall?
Heimdall? He's our Heimdall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to join us. It's Saturday at 1, so or Sunday at 1. It's such a weird time. He's like, of course I'm going to be there. So he has moderator privileges in Facebook too, and it's just like the fact that I just breathe deep a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God he's here. Like, it's just so awesome, and it shows how amazing the community is and how amazing you are. So thank you so much, Glitch. I do also want to say, we have a ton of chat coming in right now, which is awesome. We're going to read it between stories because this episode is very different. It's not like the Storytime episodes where we have like 4 stories, so we have plenty of time to talk to you all. This one is Robin's topic and my topic. So between those, we'll have like a longer break than we normally do, where we go through chat. We won't be able to read everything, so we'll go through about as much as we can before we jump into the next topic. So we're not ignoring anyone. We just want to make sure that the topic comes out nice. And since you all are here to hear a topic episode, we don't want to be bouncing out of it a whole bunch and talking. However, I'll do a quick shout out to Enfire Joseph 38, who followed us 16 hours ago, and I'm What's for Dinner for subscribing for the 15th month. And it says, I vote for having live topics streamed the last Sunday of every month. Can we make it? And then it says ... So I imagine it was, can we make this a regular thing or something along that? I mean, we'll see what happens with it. This is the first time ever doing it, and I just last night I was like, let's try a different camera setup
I actually like this better than the other one. You guys can't see like
the chaos of the office. I got all the cool stuff. I got the Keep on Creeping On. I got the bookshelf, and Robin just has the window.
I have a window.
So
from the window to the wall.
IMB Trans says any drinks that we can redeem. I will say we do have drinks.
You know what's
it's live
funny?
episode.
Okay, so story time. Yesterday we went to the Korean market.
White Claw, raspberry.
Because I just love going there to buy groceries, different things like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy some soju for the show because I ran out weeks ago. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy some soju. And so I grabbed like 3 or 4 bottles. And I was like, it's not enough bottles. And I was like, just grab.
Is there enough bottles?
Adam's like, just grab a couple more. And so our cart was like filled with soju.
Much booze.
And maybe a couple veggies and some food things. And I'm pushing this cart.
Out.
Oh my God. So I'm checking out and she's putting like bottles in bags, of course. But when we left the market, oh my God, I felt so embarrassed because I'm just rolling.
The cart's rattling.
The cart is rattling because you're rolling through the parking lot, and it's just like the glass bottles clinking of soju.
It was hilarious.
I was just like, oh God, no one judge me. But yes, we bought a bunch of that. So that's what I'm having today. I'm going to mix that with some Calpico. Because that's
known as
like
Calpis over there.
One of my favorite things.
The Asian continent. We're getting some drinks being redeemed right now. So I am out of the normal beers I drink, whether it's Bud Light, Miller Lite, or Kugels. So
Adam's gonna get White Claw.
I opened a variety case that has been in our fridge since pre-quarantine, pre-COVID, of White Claw. So I'm gonna get White Girl Wasted on raspberry.
And look, this little cute Starbucks cup too. It's like
it is very cute.
Cute Starbucks thing.
So awesome! It's really cool to see folks chatting from Facebook. I will say I have to like switch windows a little bit to see who's saying what. I can see what's being said, but it just says Facebook user, and that is because Facebook has been very diligent about protecting people's identities after Mark Zuckerberg got called to Congress and looked like a robot when he answered some of the stupidest questions I've ever heard, which was basically like, how do I reset my router and can you get this app to work? But yeah, I can't actually see who it is. I just see like Facebook user says this, but if I click over to Facebook, I can see it. So once we hit up the halfway break of the show, I'll be more than happy to go through a bunch of this stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Amelia P says, just bought my I Want to Believe mug.
I'm so glad you guys like those because my sister and I totally like sat here and designed it out. She made all the vector stuff to make it like be able to get cut out the way it gets cut out. And so everything's handmade, and she worked hard on the design, and we worked together to kind of get the mugs made. So all the mugs that are going to be going out, the colors are going to be all different because the Galaxy ink that I have it depends on what's in the package, right? So I only have a few different ones, but they're all going to be like Galaxy themed, just not all the purple color. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, they're all handmade and they're all going to be just lovingly packaged. And I'm so thankful that you guys like them because we definitely had fun making it. So yeah.
Indeed. I'm pretty excited. Robin's going to be reading the topic first. I will say it kind of looks like we're in different rooms or like pretty far apart.
Oh, because it's so well, when I shake the table.
Yeah, because Robin always shakes the table. So we have webcams. We have pretty high-end webcams that we're using right now. But they will move and shake along with the table. So hopefully we're careful about that. But as you can see, we're not very far apart. That's my hand. That's her tongue. Yeah. All right. You just licked my hand and you're acting like I'm weird for saying yeah about it.
Yeah. Okay.
You ready?
All right.
I'm going to mark it and then just do your thing.
Let me take a drink first. I haven't drank a sip of anything.
We have 3 drinks to drink, by the way. All right, let's go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's terrible.
No, I think White Claw is good.
It's just so citrusy.
Almost a half bottle in here.
I'm going to get such terrible heartburn. Girl Panic says, oh my God, kiss, LOL, JK. Later.
Last night
I tried to kiss her romantically and she's such an asshole.
Last night Adam's like, well, that's why we don't make out anymore.
Well, she was like leaning against the wall like on her phone, and so I like walked up next to her and I like put my arm next to her and I leaned in to kiss her, and she just like looked up like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to kiss you, and she's like, oh.
Okay, someone
asked what
She puts
out like the thinnest, tightest lips ever.
Oh, someone asked what I'm drinking. So this is what I'm drinking.
Soju, number 1.
Yeah, so I have soju. What percentage is this?
I don't know.
20.1. Oh, Jesus.
Damn it. Ryan's going to get fucked up. All right, we need to get into our topic before this booze starts hitting her. She hasn't had anything to eat.
All right,
yet,
yeah, so it's, oh my God, 20.1. That's fucking nuts. That's fucking nuts.
Oh, God. Okay, she has a new catchphrase. It's fuck nuts. And it's so fucking annoying. I hate it so much, dude. Oh, all right. Facebook user says it's on the group and Facebook. I see. LOL. It is for the first time ever.
For the first time ever, and we hope you folks like it, and we hope it works. So
far, so good.
Yeah, we hope it's something that you guys will like, and that it's worth putting the money into it. All right, let me get into my topic here. Whoop, whoop.
Hang on, things just went crazy. I tried to grab the chat, and it put me into the actual live broadcast and turn the volume on. So we might have had a little bit of an echo right there. All right, I'm going to back up slowly away from it and leave it be. Minimize it. Okay, cool. We should be good to go. And booyah, Robin, do your thing.
All right. So thanks to our patrons who helped us choose our topics this week. The episode is the first time we've ever had a deadline. So when we were doing the topics...
We have like a soft deadline normally of Tuesday morning at 4 a.m.
Right. And so we kind of take our time and we procrastinate. We are the biggest procrastinators.
I will say in our defense, when we procrastinate, it's typically because we're doing a bunch of other shit. Like you're doing school or work
stuff.
Or marketing shit for the show. And in my case, I'm doing work or research or development or laziness. Valheim really got to me there for a little while too. So there's just times...
Adam would, after work, he's like, I want to put in like 2 hours of Valheim and then I can start researching.
Exactly. Plus, we usually don't even start researching till super late. So knowing we had to do it at like a reasonable fucking time was really stressful.
Last night it was really stressful. It's the first time I feel like on this show that we've been like, oh God, we need to stay up so late to try and get this research done. But
it's Saturday. It's like...
But we stayed up till
4:30
researching and getting that stuff done. Worth it. Hopefully you guys like the episode.
I was lucky enough to get through my topic first so I could play around with some of the settings for the live show, and I was like, okay, that actually worked out really well. So, and it's always nice, like when we record Tuesdays, when we finish recording at like 3:50 and I have 10 minutes to edit the episode and then it goes up and we don't get to bed until 5. I have to work at 8, so you only get like 3 hours of sleep, but that sucks. But for this, it was just like, it's like 4:30, we're going to bed. It's like the stream's at
1, so it was fine. All right, but thank you for helping us pick our topics, because that kind of took that load off our shoulders.
It did.
Because normally we're like,
I hate loads on my shoulders.
Ew.
I know, right? It's the worst. So thank you to the patrons for getting that load off my shoulders.
Okay. So my half of the choices was a mysterious site, a mysterious place, not necessarily a site, but what I'm covering is the mysterious ancient relics of Brazil. And so obviously we have to head over to Brazil, right? We're going to go to Brazil, specifically Guanabara Bay. I've never been to Brazil. I've never been to South America. So
Nor have I.
Really?
Yeah. We have some wonderful listeners from Brazil, though. So shout out to all of you.
Yeah, shout out to Brazil.
We appreciate every single one of you.
Someone from Norway just became a patron. I was like, from Norway? It's so far. Okay. Anyway,
Adorable.
So Guanabara Bay is in the southeast coast. It's on this. Hold on. Guanabara Bay is in the southeast coast of Rio de Janeiro. So it's like the coast, and then you go in 15 miles, and it's Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Apparently, it's the second largest bay in Brazil. It's 159 square miles, so that sounds huge.
That is a huge bay.
I feel like it's something where you can't see the other edge. If you were like looking across, you wouldn't be able to see the other end.
You could probably see the coastline from the middle. I don't know what the distance is for like actually seeing the shore, but I think you're right. Like from the shore,
Michigan?
Lake Michigan's fucking huge.
Okay.
It's enormous. It also looks kind of like a dick. It's like if someone lifted Florida out of the land and like the water rushed in. That's what Lake Michigan's always looked like to me. So if you think Florida looks like a dick, Lake Michigan also kind of looks like a dick.
All right. Good to know. So the fact that this is the second largest bay in Brazil, pretty cool. Its name also seems to have the possible translation of the bosom of sea, which is hot. Downside is that it's also absolutely full of pollution. So apparently just different types of pollutants and runoff and things like that kind of pour into the bay. And there's no...
That sucks.
Yeah, rules against it or something. I don't know. But it's filled with pollution. Within the bay, under 100 feet of water, covering the span of about 3 tennis courts, is a curious set of relics, artifacts.
They seem huge if they're covering that much space.
Well, like, it's like splattered all over that area.
Okay.
What makes this so strange, or these items so strange, is that they really don't have any particular reason to be there. It's like one of those out of place artifacts.
Right, like why are these here?
they come from Rome, which is an ocean away. And it's a mystery because no one's really been able to make sense of how it got there because they are so old. In 1976, there were some lobster divers doing what divers do when they came across this interesting thing. There were some very old, lovely, barnacle-encrusted jars at the bottom of the ocean, and a diver named Jose Roberto Teixeira one day brought up a few of these jars.
Teixeira, I think is how you say it.
Teixeira?
I just know that because of Mark Teixeira, who played
is he a baseball player?
Major League Baseball for a long time, yeah.
How did I know? I don't know. It's just a guess. Adam just knows sports. I just assume.
Yay, sports.
Okay, so Jose Roberto Teixeira one day brought up a few of these jars, and he actually tried to sell these jars to tourists.
If I found treasure, I would not be selling it to tourists.
He successfully sold them. So he brought up like 8 of them, and by the time he was caught by authorities and stopped because they were like, these are like stolen artifacts.
These belong in a museum.
So do you. Anyway, he only had 2 left. So he still had 2 jars by the time authorities stopped him. They told him, like, you need to go take this to the University of Brazil and have people look at them because they look like artifacts that should not be taken from here.
Right.
And they were tall and tapered, made of ceramic, made with 2 handles, which is a design typically used by ancient Greeks, Romans, and Phoenicians. These were containers that would have been used to carry things like wine, oil, water, and even grain during long sea voyages.
Okay.
So,
like storage units, like almost.
Well, they're jars. I mean, you're gonna put shit in jars. I mean, you know what I mean?
The first thing I thought was like grease. Like you put like
Lightning.
a bunch of different types. I hate you so much. Put a bunch of different types of grease in jars. Sometimes you put like jam or jelly in jars.
Well, I don't think, did Rome
like
have
bacon
jam
grease,
and jelly?
fish grease. You never heard of that? Like separating your greases. So when you cook. All right, never mind. Just keep going.
Okay. So I'm sure
We
you're
grew
saying...
up differently. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm sure you're saying, like, sea voyages, well, it's in an ocean, so that totally makes sense, right? The thing that confuses people is the fact that the first known European, I guess, visitors to Brazil is thought to be around 1500.
So much later than the Roman era, right?
Right. So a Portuguese navigator named Pedro Alvarez Cabral arrived in Brazil in the 1500s, and this is important because the jars, according to experts, are from the 2nd or 3rd centuries and are of Roman origin.
So like this was like way, way out of the way to get these things there.
It was like completely different era. So it's just a mind-blowing discovery. In 1982, an archaeologist and treasure hunter named Robert Marks decided to get his hands on more of these objects from the ocean. And he sounds like he wants to be Indiana Jones, but, you know, whatever.
A little bit.
He had actually participated in over 5,000 dives over his career. He is considered one of the pioneers of underwater technology. So this guy's somebody, you know? He's not just like a random schmo who's like, I want to do this. He actually is into discovering things under the ocean. I don't know. Well, he, along with a doctor named Harold Edgerton from Massachusetts Institute of Technology,
MIT,
also known as MIT. You know what's funny is I have a friend who goes to MIT, and anytime anyone asks her what school she goes to, she says, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The first time she told me that, I'm like, you mean MIT? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
Trying to be humble there. That's pretty nice of them. Massachusetts Institute of Tech. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I think she always says like MI Tech or something. I'm like, what the what?
That's funny.
Anyway, so these two were able to get permission from the Brazilian government to go and dive and kind of lead an expedition to comb the bottom of that bay. And they used sonar technology, and with that technology, they found 200 of these jars down there.
Holy shit.
So that's a lot of jars.
Someone placed a really big order to Rome from Brazil back in
I mean, if you're going transatlantic, it's not just, it's like the Ever Given.
It's kind of not, but okay.
Because you're not going to take just one, you're not going to take one container. You're taking...
Well, obviously, but I didn't think it would be that many. And that many lost at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, the bay. The bottom of the bay.
I'm just thinking of a song now. Isn't there a song? Sitting on the...
Dock of the bay.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
I like how she thinks of the song that she doesn't know any of the words to, including the title.
Anyway, so... Thinking the original... Thinking that the original jars were a hoax, they were just like, we got to figure out if this is real or not. And this large discovery of so many kind of changed everything, because they're like, obviously there's no way 200 jars, this can't be a hoax.
Or it's a really good hoax.
In the polluted, murky water, these things were just hiding there, and they were sitting there for thousands of years. Well, I don't know, thousands, second century.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost 2,000 years.
Yeah, almost 2,000 years. Fine. And some were easily found closer to the surface, and then some were buried deeper down into the ocean floor, or sea floor, and some were just covered in barnacles, and it was sitting there for a really long time.
Some were living in a pineapple under the sea.
Yeah, some were living in a pineapple under the sea. I love that show. Some even had coral that had grown over them because it's been there so long. And luckily, there were a good number of intact jars left, despite the amount of time that they had spent under the sea. From the condition of their discovery, the team believes that it isn't possible for these items to have been planted there in modern day. Because if they're covered in barnacles, they're covered in coral.
They've been weathered by time.
Right. According to some of Marx's speculations, these jars came from an ancient Roman ship that the existence and... fuck.
Whoa, what?
Shut
the
up.
Existence and fuck.
From ancient Roman ship...
Now you're really getting a look at a topic episode, y'all.
Damn.
Marking it for the third.
My throat's starting to get all like icky.
Icky. I really enjoy the fact that you can put your Bitmojis or your Facebook avatars or whatever the fuck they're called into chat.
Oh, that's cute.
That is really cool.
These jars came from an ancient Roman ship, and that the existence of these jars is a sign that there is also an ancient shipwreck down there somewhere.
Oh, shit. Yeah, good point.
This is strange in that the Romans were only known to have voyaged as far as India. So they only got as far as India. How the heck?
So this is like a historical mystery.
Right.
I feel like my topic's going to suck now.
Why?
Because yours is so
But I like
interesting.
ghosts. Yours is going to be good. It's okay. We decided last night, I was like, ghosts should go second because everyone loves a good ghost story. Anyway, supposedly traveling a distance as far as Brazil during that time would have been almost, if not completely impossible. But some do say their ships had the technology, so they could have.
Well, it's like maybe they were lost at sea and just like praying they would find land. And they just keep sailing, and then finally it's like, oh my god, I see Brazil, but they don't know it's called that. And then they're shipwrecks. They're like, shit!
So this incredible feat is something that Marx definitely wanted to understand and figure out. He wanted to further investigate the area and see if they could find other types of artifacts. He claims, quote, if authentic, it would be one of the most important discoveries in the field of marine archaeology.
Absolutely.
End quote. One of the experts that confirmed the age and era, origin of the jars is Elizabeth Will. She is a professor of classics and a specialist. Hold on, I need one.
Me. The arsonist had oddly shaped feet. Robin is gone. She'll hopefully come back. Robin is back. Thank you.
Thanks.
Me.
Okay. Oh,
How's your soju treating you?
fuck. Dude, I haven't drank anything today. I haven't eaten anything today. And this thing's 20.1% alcohol. I get it. It's 1:30 p.m. It's not that early.
It's a bit of day drinking here. People are talking about how great you look, though. Over there, Smash Bros. It's SMX BROS, which has got to mean Smash Bros. Says, drop the skincare routine, Robin.
My skin's real dry. I put, you know, that cream that we always put on our skin in the Cetaphil?
Yeah, that's it.
I just put Cetaphil on before we sat down. So
she applied what's known as water from a shower.
Oh yeah, I took a shower,
which is fairly rare.
And then I put the Cetaphil on my nose and stuff. So
that's about it. Yeah. She is very diligent though. She does like have the scrubbing thing. She does face masks sometimes. Okay. Sometimes we have face mask nights and we get to look like characters. I had one where I got to look like Darth Maul, and that was super cool.
And Frieza.
And I had the Frieza one. The Frieza one was great.
All right.
Ready, Freddy?
Yeah.
Marking it. Let's get it.
Should I just start the sentence over again?
Yeah, it's always easier for me.
You know, that's one of my least favorite things in the entire world.
It's people clearing their throat.
People clearing their throat.
If you're around Robin and you're choking, you should just die.
Oh my God.
That's how she
feels.
feels.
So one time, Adam was choking. I was playing Battlefield, and he was like choking. And so I'm in the game, right? I'm not paying attention to anything around me.
I was as close to her then as I am now. And this is how close I am to her right now.
He was like stomping, like...
I'm like, wait, like I'm fucking dying right now.
God.
And she just was like,
I saved
locked
his life.
in.
It's fine.
She eventually stood up and fucking smacked me. She tried to Heimlich me, and she's weak. And then she started smacking me on the back, and I was like trying to time my like lung coughs, because they're not actual coughs. They're just like convulsions in your tummy to line up to her smacking me, and it came out. I was like, oh, thank God.
Did you still eat that piece?
No, it's disgusting.
Okay, continuing on. One of the experts that confirmed the age and origin of the jars was Elizabeth. Fuck me!
Was Elizabeth fuck me?
Shut up!
World renowned.
Fuck! Stop! God.
Sorry.
One of the experts that confirmed the age and era of these jars was Elizabeth Will, who was a professor of classics and a specialist in ancient Roman amphoras, which are these jars.
Gotcha.
And she's from the University of Massachusetts of Amherst, not
Lots
MIT.
of folks from Massachusetts in on this.
That's what I said. I was like,
is there some connection between Massachusetts and Brazil?
I think maybe that's where Robert Marx is from, and so he just took stuff back to talk to them. Maybe.
Right on.
According to Will, quote, the highly publicized amphoras Robert Marx found in the ship are in fact similar in shape to jars produced in kilns at Kos, on the west coast of Morocco. The Rio jars look to be late versions of those jars, perhaps datable to the 3rd century AD. I have a large piece of one of those Rio jars, but no labs I've consulted have any clay similar in composition. So the edges...
Is that a quote? Or do you actually have one?
This is a quote. Fuck you!
You didn't say quotes. I thought you were saying you have one.
I did say quote.
I'm so excited if she has one. That's all I'm saying. The looks don't translate well to the audio medium, but they do translate really well to the live stream, I will say.
So the edges of the earth for Rome, beyond India and Scotland, and Eastern Europe remain shrouded in mystery, end quote. Apparently, these jars underwent like this thermoluminescence test. I've never heard of that before, but it was performed at the University of London, which determined them to be even older than 2nd and 3rd AD.
Wow.
It was more around 19 BC, which is much older. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. BC is definitely older than AD.
Apparently, these jars underwent... Oh, I fucking read that already. Hold on.
Marked it.
Damn it, I need water. I'm Beef Turner says Chardonnay. I'm just like, Chardonnay.
I think Bob had a really good joke when it came to that woman's name that you kept messing up. He says, excuse me, that's Dr. Fuck Me. That's a really good joke. You're also shaking the shit on the desk. I just have to tell you. Please don't.
Earthquake.
Chardonnay with a shot of sake is what the snark
Sake it
says.
to me, baby. All right.
Unbelievable.
What?
All right.
What?
Just quoting Austin Powers, that's all. It's like, we all know that gif of Austin Powers trying to get that thing unstuck with the Suez Canal ship superimposed over it is pretty fucking funny. But
It's starting to get real hot.
yeah, I had to roll up my sleeves, man. I'm dying in here.
Okay. So Marx's theory is that this Roman ship did, in fact, make it all the way to Brazil, and not because of some lucky or unlucky wind that blew it all the way over there randomly. It was purposefully navigated there, managing to skip over the rocks or reefs along the way. So he thinks that it was completely manned and a purposeful trip to this continent or country or what have you.
It would have been to the continent for the first, I assume for the first time, but I mean, they'd be going to it's the New World essentially for like way earlier than by the time they got there.
So his goal was to find out how they would have done that. Apparently, before he could investigate any further, the so far cooperative Brazilian government changed their tune. So they denied Marx the permission needed to further explore the area. They even banned him from the country, supposedly.
Wow.
Which I think is pretty darn extreme. According to the government, Marx had stolen numerous historical objects from shipwrecks all over the country, which...
This sounds like the plot twist of an Indiana Jones movie.
This, of course, led Marx to being all, it's a government conspiracy, they're just covering it up. The theory being that they wanted to prevent anything that would change the established history of Brazil.
Huh.
Something that makes me think that he's just a drama queen is that he even accused the Brazilian Navy of burying the jars and any evidence of a possible shipwreck under more silt to keep them hidden. This, of course, was denied by them because why not? Why wouldn't you deny that you did something to cover something up? You know what I mean? The Brazilian government actually banned any and all underwater exploration in 1984.
Wow.
Spanning the entire 4,600-mile coastline.
That's fucking nuts.
When Marx had returned to continue his search, they had covered everything. They had covered everything in tons of silt and sand.
Why?
Which does lead me to believe the cover-up theory. I don't know.
Aliens have to be involved in this.
So
somehow.
the government like denies that they did that, but then they
go
back
and do that,
and it's covered.
Yeah.
You know, it actually is covered.
Banning that large of a coastline from having any sort of exploration done is
it's
fucking
sketch.
crazy.
It's so sketch. This whole incident, this whole thing was reported in the New York Times on June 25th, 1985, nearly a year after.
I had just been born.
Oh my God.
Yeah, baby Adam.
Your little...
I was somewhere shitting my pants when they were reporting on this.
Roman relic baby.
Roman relic baby. That's funny.
This whole story, including Robert Marx, was told. In this article, it stated that Marx had actually found the front of a wrecked ship. That the sonar they were using, that tech, had actually seen it, though it was like a shattered, front end of a ship, like
right.
It had been wrecked by a big rock. How you could tell that through radar, I'll never know. I don't know what that looks like. But maybe this ship was the one that he was looking for this whole time, but wasn't ever actually able to excavate the site before the government was like, no.
It's just so odd. They would ban any exploration and be like, nope, no, we're done here. Like, we're completely done. Like, out of nowhere.
Because of the lack of research and exploration, it's still not exactly known how these ancient Roman jars got there. Like, was it actually blown across the Atlantic? Is it a huge cover-up? If this discovery were found, it would really change the history of that country. It would mean that ancient Romans had reached the shores over 1,700 years ago. Cabral, the Portuguese explorer who was given credit of discovering Brazil, is a beloved figure in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
He's revered as a saint and a national hero.
Ooh, yeah, now it's starting to make a little bit more sense.
Supposedly the discovery that the country could have possibly be founded by someone other than a Catholic nobleman, someone of that kind of background, it brought out a lot of hate from the church.
Right.
The church was like, dude, no. The mere suggestion of being so was like borderline heresy. The suggestion that it may have been a different country entirely that discovered Brazil caused a lot of turmoil at the time, too. So Italy started claiming ownership of the country, sort of, kind of.
Shit.
The Italian ambassador was like, y'all Italian immigrants should get instant citizenship.
Yeah, okay, now things are just escalating.
Which
this
caused,
is unreasonable.
So there were, at the time, there were a lot of, like, public demonstrations of people demanding citizenship. And I could see why Brazil would want to prevent any change to this established history.
Right.
According to Marx, regarding working with the Navy, quote, the Navy people I worked with told me the Navy had covered up the site to keep it from being plundered. But they also said that this thing is causing so much controversy, it's better if you leave, end quote.
Wow.
So do you think it's a hoax or that they're actually ancient? You know, some say it could have been jars just floating themselves over to the Americas.
No.
Academically, it's insisted that the Romans did not have that never made a transatlantic journey. So,
well, they wouldn't even know to call it the transatlantic journey.
Yeah.
You know, it's like to them, it's just they went in one direction and they wound up somewhere. That it seems like they knew what they were doing and why they were going there. I definitely don't think this is a hoax. For me, this one personally rings like...
Up? You think it's an actual
I think
cover-up?
straight up something happened where once they started investigating it more and more and they realized that it could change the political landscape of their country and the history of their country, they're like, nope, we're fucking done. Shut it down. Because if you shut down the entire coast of Brazil, that's fucking crazy. And then when you get accused of covering shit up, you're like, we didn't do that. Also, good idea. And then you go and use that exact method to literally cover shit up. And then you're just like, yeah, fuck you. What are you going to do now? That's just super sus.
I just think it's...
I'm voting them out if we're playing Among Us. Brazil is getting... all of them. Brazil, the Romans, Italy. You're all getting shot out in space. This one's too weird.
I think it's nuts that there were so many people that were like, dude, no, I should get immediate citizenship because that person didn't even discover the country. This is completely different. Like, it's all me. I deserve this. Da da da. It would cause so many freaking problems. So many problems. It's like that's if I wonder if they had let it go, there would be like war. You know?
Yeah. They could have been trying to stop something even worse from happening.
Right. And I wonder how many things in the world that stuff happens to.
That it applies to.
Yes. It makes me really freaked out. But yeah, that's the mysterious ancient Roman artifacts, relics, whatever have you, from Brazil.
Very interesting. Good shit, Robin.
I
Setting
did not
the bar really high.
I did not expect it to lead into like a conspiracy theory topic thing, but like it went from mysterious place, mysterious artifacts to fucking conspiracy theory. It has it all. Has it all, baby.
There you go. You're welcome, everyone. Thank you, patrons, for suggesting the topic that led Robin to it. So, pretty good stuff. All right, so before I move into our next topic, we're going to take a really quick commercial break, which is what I say on the live show, or what I say on the recorded show. Because it's a live show, we're going to do a 60-second ad over there on Twitch. If you're watching elsewhere, you probably won't get it.
Wow, lucky duckies.
All right, we're going to scroll back through a lot of these things that were being chatted, and I'm also going to rearrange how this screen is set up.
Thanks, so I can read stuff too.
Yeah, so I'm going to let Robin...
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to arrange this stuff.
20.1%. Dude, I have so many bottles. Oh, it's so strong.
Will you chill out about the booze?
The thing is, like...
You're acting like a high schooler that just had their first drink. Dude, this thing is such high proof. It's fucking crazy. It is, though.
And I didn't expect that because most of the time I buy the flavored ones. The flavored ones have only 12%. So it's so different. It is much different. This one has 20. Oh, my fucking God. But...
she won't stop.
It's much smoother than like vodka. I can't stand vodka and stuff like that. So this is like...
Some vodka's pretty good, though. Like, you have to get good vodka if you're going to be really drunk on vodka.
Get good.
I mean, when I was younger, I was just like, all right, what's the cheapest vodka? Fleshman's? Yeah, that sounds good. Put it in my body. Not even joking. That was the name of the vodka I used to drink. It was terrible. Fleshman's, Phillips, Distiller's Choice. There's a bunch of just fucking terrible vodkas that used to get imbibed into my body. All right, I'm going to keep this over here for now. All right, no, we'll put it here, and then I'll move it when we do the thing with the stuff. Okay. And the stuff. Okay. All right, and I'll scroll to the very tippy top and then let you know who the first person was in either channel. It was I'm What's for Dinner, and they said, let's go, woo! At 12:57, they were here before the stream even started.
Oh, there's like autofocus.
Which is pretty awesome. Yeah, it's been fucking going in and out. It's very, very annoying. Shout out to all the folks who have joined us. Ginseng Joe, Tiny Dance Nation, Laura Ann. I saw Lunabin pop in. Carly is here. Joe is also here. Grim is here. Just lots of folks. We love every single one of you for joining us on a Sunday afternoon.
I'm Beef Train says, I'm distracted today. I fear I might have to say goodbye to one of my cats.
That's so sad.
It's really sad. It's always hard to lose a family member, like a furry family member is just as important to you as any other.
Yeah,
so it's
sometimes
really hard to
more
lose.
important, to be real. Like,
I would be so upset if one of our dogs died. I'm so happy that they are better.
Yeah,
better.
our dogs are feeling a lot better. They're playing games and eating like crazy again, and I don't know, pooping solid poops. So that's a good thing.
And licking the crap out of their food bowls to tell you they're
I'm hungry. You just hear it fucking rattling from downstairs.
You keep reading. I'm gonna text the dog people.
Okay. Shout out to Mike Land for joining us over there on YouTube. We got a lot of folks chit-chatting over there in Facebook. So let me go ahead and bring up some Facebook chitter-chatter and see what you folks over there have to say. Let's hope this works. All right. We got lots of comments, which is awesome to see. If I click this, let's see if we actually get the comments or if we get an echo. It will not show me those comments, and you're being really dumb, and I hate you. All right. Comments. Nope. Not working. Okay. So I'm just going to read these and not going to say who they're from because it just says Facebook user. One says, wow, hi, Adam and Robin. I missed you guys. We missed you too, whoever you are. Thank you so much. So scrolling a little bit more, some hi guys over there in Facebook. Looks like Glitch dropped down some of our Patreon and coffee links, which is awesome to see. Grim over there in Twitch says, Robin, you look stunning. She does. She always does. It's awesome.
My hair is just... My hair's starting to dry after taking a shower, so now it's like... bleep. I was thinking about cutting it before the show.
Oh my god, if you would have cut it before the show.
Okay, but
I'd
I didn't.
Been so annoyed. I'd have been like, oh my god, we have to deal with this mini meltdown before the show. All right. Carrie over there on Facebook says, I was so excited to show my son. He's like, I know their voices. These are our faces. Please don't be disappointed. Thank you for sharing us, though.
Her faces.
No one's ever disappointed with Robin's face, which is awesome. All right. Scrolling a little bit more, we got lots of folks asking about if this is going to be a permanent thing. Maybe not. We'll probably tie it to like a goal.
Do you guys like this view? Like this side by side? Because if you guys like the side by side, we're going to do the side by side
for story
times too. So if you guys like it, let us know so we can decide. It's a lot easier to set up the office this way.
It really is, yeah.
Than to move everything around and lift the monitors up and put the camera down there.
Shout out to Michael Land who says Glitch is the real MVP. Glitch is the real MVP. Let us know if you prefer this look. Someone says, it is so cool over there on Facebook. And then Glitch replied, it is so cool. Someone said Robin's drinking, to which Robin replied, I think we already took care of that one, which is awesome. Christina says, woo, live topic episode. Indeed. Thank you for joining us, Christina. Lots of folks here. It's very awesome to see everyone joining us. And hopefully you enjoyed Robin's topic as much as I did.
I really hope you guys like that it's on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's new for us. We just got the program last night, so it's completely different.
Seems to be working.
We were really afraid that it wouldn't work.
All I know is the only thing that's giving us a little bit of difficulty is getting through the comments to read what you folks have said.
Yes.
But we can see it. We just can't see who it's from, which isn't the biggest deal. I think you can share your privacy settings with this app, and you'll get your name to pop up for us. But I'm not going to request that of anyone. I think it just prompts you if you want to send them anonymously or not. So it's totally up to you. Kelly says, this is amazing. Also, my first time tuning into a live episode of any kind. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
No problem, Kelsey. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Looks like the Snark was here. Says, just stopping by to say hello. Also said, silly Adam, we don't drain the grease out of our food. For people that like cook or fry stuff in a pan, I know that there's lots of different people who separate the grease so you can reuse it for other dishes. So you have like the grease that comes off of bacon, and you just scrape that into like a little jar rather than actually putting it in the trash or down the sink like crazy people do. So that's what I was kind of referencing. Eminon's here as well. Says, how's it going, everybody? Going pretty well. Thank you for joining us, Eminon. Scrolling. Laura says, oh my god, that cup is so cute, Robin.
Oh, this one? Yeah, I think it's one of the Japan Sakura themed ones. It might be from Hong Kong design too. I'm not sure. It's one of the Asian ones, but I ordered it on eBay. I don't know.
In regards to the jars, Glitch said, ancient pickles confirmed. think they've been pickling stuff for a long time, so that's probably true. I'm What to Dinner says, as a theory, it's not aliens, it's time travelers. I really like that one as well. Glitch was tossing up a bunch of pictures of time travelers, so we got a Mr. Poopy Butthole and a Rick and Morty. Nice to see that. Scrolling, Carrie over there in Facebook says, I was so excited to show my son. I already fucking read that. I'm sorry about that. I also swore, and I just talked about your son.
Oh my God.
Which is posting stickers. One of him cheersing, drinking, which is so much fun to see. Joe over there in Facebook says, pitter patter, get at her. Maribel over there in Facebook says, I like the split screen thingy.
I'm glad. And you guys get to see us closer. You know, it's not so far.
Yeah, this was like a last minute thought too. So I was like, I have some time. Robin's still doing her script, so maybe I'll toss something together.
Pimples or something down here. So gross.
Maybe you're just breaking out a little bit.
I'm breaking out a lot more recently. I think I need to start eating better.
I think we both need to start eating better, but it's just so much fun to not eat good. Just saying. Tiny Dance Nation says, I like the side-by-side 2-camera style. Y'all should find a way to put the Scaryish marquee in the background somewhere so y'all can keep the Manscaped code on it. I don't think the Manscaped
we
code
are
works
no
anymore.
longer sponsored by Manscaped, so we don't have them ads.
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
Lee Room over there in Twitch says, by the way, hi, sorry, I have been so MIA. You never have to apologize. We totally understand. Only been active on Facebook, LOL. Whenever you guys can tune in, that's amazing for us if it's convenient for you, you know? We always love to see you come out, but if you're not there, we totally understand. Everyone has lives. Sometimes shit happens and you just can't pop in, so no big deal. All right. NBD. I'm going to get this set up so that I can do my topic, and then we will go from there.
You do you, girl.
It's really annoying I can't read all the comments on Facebook, but I can play around with it later, so. All right. Gonna check and make sure everything's still good. Yep, we're not dropping frames. Everything seems to be in order. Let me get my script up, which is not as good as Robin's, but hey.
I think it'll be fun. I love ghosts. I love hauntings and the idea of quarantine ghosts.
All right, there we go.
They're like in the background being like, it's Britney, bitch, or whatever.
Yeah, so that's how quarantine ghosts all are.
I just imagine they're like 21st century.
I can't wait to get my fucking haircut. It's like such a disaster by my cowlick, and it's just unmanageable.
I don't think it looks bad. I can't tell on the screen, so.
I'm Beatrice says, no more Manscaped? Oh, no. Honestly, when it comes to Manscaped, it was really cool they reached out to us because it's a product that I use, but at the same time, it's not exactly a product that appeals to our audience.
I think it really alienates the majority of our audience because I think we're like 75% female.
Yeah, we have a very high female audience, or like non-binary identification audience.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, this is called Manscaped.
Yeah.
It's like targeted specifically at dudes and like bro dudes specifically. So
Bro dudes.
I mean, I think they have great products. I wish they would literally like market some of the stuff towards like gender neutral. Like chicks have bushes too. Like, why can't they use a Manscaped trimmer like the lawnmower to take care of that? That's why Robin would always bring up, like, it's good for, like, all the other things as well. So, eventually we might come back around and...
Girl Panic says, would you guys ever do the bath bomb site again? I don't think she's doing bath bombs right now, though.
She's they got a lot going on in their lives. We do know her a little bit.
Personally, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, so she hasn't reached out to do another spot, and I totally understand. She's had a ton going on, so... If they ever reached out again, we would absolutely do the bath bomb site. We still have a couple left, and they're amazing. I fucking love them. So, anyways, scrolling around just to see if there's anything else. The Snark says, I got a call, so I think I missed what Adam said. LOL. It wasn't important. It never is.
Most of says, guess I won't be buying any Manscaped stuff to trim my curly noodles. Ew.
You should still buy Manscaped stuff. It's still a product I use. Like, I use the nose trimmer all the time. So
yeah,
just
I
not
saw that all
us.
the Manscaped razors are sitting all around your sink because you've been using them.
I was using a bunch of stuff.
I fucking picked up a Q-tip today and it had curly hair on it. I was like,
it's because you let them fall on the floor and I have to pick them up off the floor. Robin just leaves Q-tips all over the bathroom counter.
It was still in the container.
Oh, well, that happens. So what do you want me to do about that?
Bitch, you nasty.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to mark it. We're going to move into the second topic.
Tell me about ghosts.
Here we go.
I'm intrigued already.
Going to bring us back from this commercial break. So you get to see the recording process, which is where we say the things that need to be said for the audio version, but you can see that like we're just fucking bullshitting right now. So it's fun stuff. But here we go. All right. And go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into the second topic of this topic episode, which is mine. And this week, like I mentioned, our wonderful patrons picked out our topics for us. I took the topic of ghosts/hauntings this week, which really takes us back to our roots, which is always a nice thing to visit. Sometimes we veer a little bit off because it's exciting to do something new and interesting. But
What do you mean?
Like, I covered the Electron, I can't remember the name of that boat, but the boat mystery where the guy disappeared for a year and then tried to show back up and win the race. And then it turns out he went fucking crazy and wrote like a manifesto and then jumped off the boat. Some of those things aren't exactly like ghosts and hauntings, but when you have a show like Scaryish, which is a paranormal/true crime show, it's kind of nice to get back to like directly paranormal stuff. So solid topic for our first ever live topic episode. I'm pretty happy, so thank you, patrons. Something I was thinking about on Friday, actually, when I was talking with some of my coworkers, clicked with me when I was writing my script yesterday on Saturday, and it really did lead to this specific topic. So without further ado, I present to you, dear listener and viewer, Quarantine Hauntings.
Before you continue, I'm just like, I'm trying to decide if I want to look at your face here.
It's difficult to figure out where to look, yeah.
Because I can see you and I can see your face straight on, and it's like you're looking at me because you're looking at the camera.
You can do either or, yeah. I was doing both, and then sometimes I was looking at your script, and then sometimes I was looking at my drink.
Why are you looking at my script, dog?
I don't know. It's just nice to know where you're at, to see like how your flow is going. Okay. So
did you already mark?
No, I didn't. I figured we'd just leave all this in.
No, you should mark it.
Oh, should I? Okay, there, it's marked.
Yeah.
All right. So at work on Friday, like I mentioned, we were talking about the struggles that people have had in all ways, shapes, and forms dealing with COVID-19 and quarantine and the lockdown. And one of the things I hadn't considered was folks that live in places that have creepy shit happen, what it's been like to be stuck at home. So for folks that have told us before, because we've been doing this for almost 4 years now.
Oh my God.
And they say things like, I have a ghost that I live with, or I have a house that's haunted, but I have to stay here. I haven't really considered like what's it been like to be stuck there all the time, because I know if I lived someplace that was kind of creepy, I might not want to be home all the time. Plus, sometimes you just get in moods where you're stir crazy and you just want to go out and do stuff, and home is just for like hanging out and going to sleep. So one of the thoughts that I've had while watching horror movies, especially when I was younger, was why don't they just leave? Like when the activity kicks up, just say, screw it, I'm going to a hotel and being done with it. Like,
I mean, a lot of things that we've covered, it's like that's not feasible.
It's not a possibility. Right. Like the house is haunted, just pick up and leave, #fuck it. I think that's the mindset of a younger person. And then I got older and I realized how much goes into uprooting your life and purchasing a home and finally getting moved in, and then the idea of like, hey, something smells like sulfur. Is that weird? Or like, I think I heard knocking on the walls last night. It becomes something that you can see yourself saying like, I'm sure there's a logical explanation for this. So the logical explanation is that moving fucking sucks, and it's expensive as balls. And also, you really, really don't want this place that you just got moved into after all this you just went through to be haunted. Like, how much will that suck if that's the case? So you're just going to try and stick it out. So the parents in horror movies have become a lot more relatable to me as a 35-year-old man. So
it's funny because I watch horror movies almost every single day. And Adam will be doing something in the office with me and just listening to me talk shit at these movies. Like, why? Just call the cops. Just call. What are you doing?
Why do people never fucking call the cops?
No one ever calls the cops. I'm like,
things go wrong in horror movies.
And I just feel like the older you get, the more you're just like, this is stupid. Why would you make these decisions?
Like, the adult decisions being made now don't bother me, but the stupid decisions bother me even more.
Right.
Like, there's a way you could deal with this. Why aren't you dealing with it that way? So it's just, I understand more and more why people are just like stuck. They don't feel like they can leave. And you have a kid saying like, I want to leave. It's like, where the fuck are you going to go? Like, do you have money? Do you have a fucking job?
Oh, like, and when we watched The Strain, and that kid was just so stupid. Like,
the kid in The Strain is like the fucking stupidest character in that entire show, in many shows that I've watched in a long time. He's no Carl. I mean, I haven't watched Walking Dead in a long time, but
I don't think Carl was that bad. Because
he was. That's why I said he's no Carl. Because
yeah.
Carl gets super fucking cool.
Yeah, and he learns how to survive, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas this fucking kid is useless in The Strain. Like,
oh man,
oh my god.
It's just, it's such a okay. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible show, but I didn't enjoy it that much, mainly because that kid sucks.
But I like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant is awesome. Anyways, all right, let's keep going.
JK.
I hate you so much. So, anyways. If things keep happening and you have to admit that there's strangeness to it. It's sometimes a mindset where you get into, you're like, maybe it's not that bad, or maybe I can live with this. And we have listeners / viewers who have written us who have said that that's the case. And those are the thoughts of the adult mind with a realistic bank account and responsibilities, where you're like, I'm just going to put up with it. So what happens in the instance where you're living in one of these scenarios and you wind up stuck at home because of a pandemic breaking out or a quarantine, or what if you haven't noticed anything yet? And then all of a sudden you're stuck at home because of these things, and now you're starting to notice stuff. Like, that really hit me when I was going to try and find a topic specifically on hauntings. And when I started to think about that, I was like, all right, let's dive in here and see if this has happened to anyone. And sure enough, it turns out for some folks, these are the exact scenarios that they had been dealing with, and now they're faced with something very creepy during quarantine. So our quarantine experience is very similar in a lot of ways to other folks out there, and it's unique in its own ways, which I think everyone's going to have that story. Like, we also baked bread from scratch when quarantine kicked up just to make sure we could do it.
And oh man, was that fun. And I think I posted videos. There's videos
we absolutely
on the
did.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Or pictures of our bread loaves. And it was just really fun to learn new skills. What else did we do that was a new skill, do you think? I know we baked different flavors of bread, too.
We wound up making a whole lot more stuff at home, and we started getting our food from different places, but that's fairly normal. One of the abnormal things that happened to us during our quarantine experience was I quit my job. I was like, yeah, well, you're not risking my health or my family, and also this job fucking sucks, so.
I remembered the day he was like, oh, by the way, I quit my job. I'm like,
I was like, we'll be fine. It's going to work out. And lucky for me, it did. And I'm in a wonderful place now, and I'm in a wonderful place in my life, and it really, really did work out. Plus, we have much better health insurance right now. So that's something that's very specific to our quarantine experience. Like Robin particularly, she transitioned to stay-at-home university and had a temporary work stoppage, which was like the first time that's ever happened.
I've never been furloughed or laid off or anything like that. Well, no, I've been laid off before. But I've never been furloughed, like, hey, you got to leave, come back, in a couple months. It was just, that was a first for me. A lot of stuff changes in something like this where you're quarantined and having to stay at home.
And all that stuff was like the first 3 months of quarantine. And you might be thinking like, Adam, is this a monologue about your experience in quarantine? No, I'm specifically bringing up these examples because it's a lot of stuff to happen in a couple of months, That's a lot of stress and anxiety and negative energy generated from the fact that this crazy thing was happening and some other crazy things happened in our lives. And I think that happened to like everyone out there. There is not a single person that's been like completely unaffected by COVID-19. So when you hear stuff like that, you think, wow, that's a lot of crazy energy to be living with for like everybody. And you're not alone. And because you're not alone, it is not shocking that I was able to find so many folks that had very similar things happen and then all of a sudden had really creepy shit start to kick off.
When you think of ghosts too, when you're pent up in your house and you have nowhere to go and you start getting really upset and you start getting really lonely and depressed, I feel like those negative energies cause these things to grow.
It's the same thing you hear from horror movies, like the horror trope of like this negative energy or emotion feeds whatever this entity or activity is. Yeah. So having all this shit kick off and everyone being stuck at home, it's not shocking that you find out that some people are starting to be affected by this in weirder ways than the rest of us. One of those folks is a man named Adrian Gomez. Adrian is 26 and is employed as an IT specialist. He lives in LA, and when the lockdown began, he too switched to working from home and baking bread. He also took on a home project, which I know some folks have done. We did not particularly decide to do. We reorganized and cleaned, but we didn't do like an overhaul. Adrian refinished his and his partner's porcelain kitchen sink. Wow. And also took up daily exercising, which is something a lot of us said we were going to do and did not do.
Yeah, right. I'm like, so, I should have done that on my birthday.
After spending some time adjusting to his new routine, though, Adrian noticed something new about his home. At night, the doorknob could be heard from across the apartment rattling.
No.
And he would get up and go check it.
No.
And there was no one inside the apartment rattling like they were going to get out. And he would look out the door, and there was no one outside either. The door was just rattling like something was trying to get in.
Oh, that's so scary.
Or out. So
that's so scary.
This happened. It was creepy to be sure.
Did he replace the doorknob?
He didn't replace the doorknob, but he thought, like, this is very odd. This has never happened before. There's no reason it should be rattling, but I'm sure there's a rational explanation for it. Not long after that, he woke up to the sound of his window shade moving. So we have blinds in our house. We have like curtains that go in front of them. Some people have those shades that just like pull down, you know. You have to tilt it and like lock it in place. You know what I'm talking about? Like the single shade sheet that you can like pull down and it'll like roll up like a tongue.
Okay, yeah.
He has one of those, okay? I've seen the picture of his apartment. I'm not creepy. He posted it. I've seen it there. So he woke up and the shade wasn't just moving. It was, as I call it, rocking and rolling. It was moving so fucking much and slamming so much against the window that it woke him up, and he initially thought it must be another earthquake. And so upon further observation, he noticed that the window shade directly next to it was sitting completely still along with everything else in his room. Something was slamming the shade against the window.
Demons.
And Adrian stated that he took a quick head count of all the pets and realized there was nothing that could have been behind the shade. There wasn't like an animal that had gotten in that could be doing it. You could see the window as it's being lifted up and slammed back down into it. And it freaked him out. And this is a quote from Adrian, quote, "I very seriously hid myself under the comforter like you see in horror movies because it really did freak me out." And I don't know why it's a universal thing from everyone, but a blanket made of cloth that barely keeps out your fan is clearly a shield from all the evils of the night. The night is dark and full of terrors, and people should have known in Game of Thrones to just carry blankets with them.
I don't know why. The blankets just make you feel safer.
It's because they make you feel warm, and you sleep under them, so it makes you feel safe.
No one ever says, like, I hid under my throw.
Under my throat, yeah. It's always under the blankie. So then he and his partner started to hear footsteps coming from above them while they were sleeping, and that started happening repeatedly as well. The problem there is there isn't a unit above them. There's no one living above them.
So it's in the attic?
They're like,
or is there
what the hell is happening? I don't think there was an attic because it's an apartment. But I thought it was funny because the article I read, it said there was no one living above them. Get it? Living.
I get it. It's a demon.
When asked about the activity that seemed to have been increasing since staying at home, Adrian said the following, quote, "I'm a fairly rational person. I try to think, what are the reasonable, tangible things that could be causing this? But when I don't have any of those answers, I start to think, quote, maybe something else is going on." And that is a terrifying thought. And here's the thing about Adrian's place is that he and his partner had never noticed any activity before. But now that all these things are happening and all those energies are out there, just like we talked about, things are starting to happen in this place that was just completely quiet before.
Is it just because you're never home? You're never home to notice?
Well, the thing is, and I have stories for later, and I have a topic about that, or I have like some sentences about that, is that what if it is just that we're noticing things because we haven't been home at those times before? But these are times they would have been home. All the stuff is happening in the evening when they're sleeping or close to that time when they're just chilling out. So
maybe because you chill out more, you're like way more calm. You're way more just, relaxed. So any little thing is like, whoa, what was that?
You're really far away from your mic. It's killing me.
You're killing me. You know what I mean, though? Like, you're much more relaxed in your apartment, and you're just chilling all day, every day, because you're stuck inside for quarantine.
Wait, you're saying the calm energy is what's causing this thing to kick off?
Yes. I think it's like...
I don't think that's the case.
No, it's not the calm energy. It's the fact that you notice everything now that you're not like...
Oh, you're just more present.
Yes, you're not like, boom, 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 boom. I got to get all this stuff
You're not
done.
distracted.
Yes.
Okay, maybe that could be. I mean, you're basically there to notice activity you didn't notice before.
Right.
So that could be it too. All right, I'm gonna move on to this next part. I gotta find it though. All right, one of the things that movies have always taught us beyond the shadow of a doubt is what we were talking about earlier, that stress, fear, anger, all the negative emotions that Yoda talks about being associated with the dark side tend to exacerbate paranormal activity. So maybe stress, fear, and anger towards the worldwide pandemic or a terrible disease, the fear of dying, or a lockdown could have caused whatever traces of the paranormal that may have existed in this person's apartment to suddenly get a boost in power, like Iron Man when he got shocked by Thor in the first Avengers, or Goku in Dragon Ball in literally every fight ever because he gets angry and all of a sudden becomes stronger, which I'm sure all of you get both of those references. So the next story...
there's like a very small group of people that
you get
are like...
cool points. So the next story is from Carrie Dunlap and his girlfriend Alexandra Cole.
Are these like posted on Twitter or something? Or
no, they've actually been interviewed by like the New York Times and sci-fi.com and like 3 other organizations. So the New York Times actually posted an article where they talked about all these things kicking off and had all these interviews.
Okay.
And then all these other news organizations picked up their article, repeated some of the stories, and then interviewed new people themselves. So that said, This is from Carrie Dunlap. He lives in a one-bedroom in Queens with his girlfriend. Their landlords were the previous tenants of the apartment they live in, and they let them know when they were moving in that they had spotted the ghost of an older Asian woman in the apartment before. So basically, you're moving into a place like, just so you know, the apartment's haunted.
Okay.
Carrie claims that when pandemic kicked off, he saw her while heading into the bathroom in the middle of the night. He states that she was wearing green scrubs and was glowing. So he approached her until she was only arm's length away from him, and he was saying she was there like she was a real person. He reached out and turned on the light to the bathroom, and she completely disappeared when the light came on. Another night, Carrie woke up to the feeling of the blanket being adjusted and spread out evenly at the bottom of the bed by his feet. He was confused because he and his girlfriend, like so many other people, typically fought over the blanket throughout the night, and he thought she had gotten up and redistributed the blanket evenly. He waited for her to climb back into bed, but he never felt her lay down, so he called out to her, and she didn't answer him. He thought that was very weird, so he opened his eyes, started looking around, and she wasn't there.
What?
And at that moment, he saw her step back into the room and realized she had been in the bathroom the whole time, and that the blanket being smoothed out and evened out on the bed had been done by some unseen force, or somehow wind kicked up and perfectly laid this blanket out on the bed.
Okay, so she went to the restroom, but she didn't fix the blanket?
She didn't fix the blanket at all.
Wow.
So they freaked out about it, and they settled on the idea that the activity that they had just experienced really seemed like the ghost was trying to make them both more comfortable.
Aww.
So seeing her in scrubs
it's kind of like
made
a
them think she was
nurse.
like a caretaker.
Yeah,
exactly. So one of the cases of increased activity I came across is a woman named Candace with a K. Candace with a K is a school teacher
Sounds hot.
who did not give her last name to the publications. I hate you so much. Did not give her last name to the publications because she wanted to be kept anonymous, because she was afraid that she would lose her job if anyone realized it was her, because she said the school district that she teaches in is very conservative and they wouldn't like to hear anything about paranormal activity. She stated this: pre-quarantine, I'd see or hear maybe 5 or 6 different entities a week. She stated that she was, quote, sensitive to paranormal activity and entities. So as a side note, that's a lot for a single week, but her norm is 5 to 6 ghosts that she interacts with a week. Like, that sounds terrible.
I don't want to interact with any ghosts at all during the week. So
she went on to say that during the worst of the quarantine, that number was up to 10 to 12 a week. So almost doubling in activity. And not only that, but their messaging and or motivation that she could interpret had changed. And this is what she said on that, quote, "The majority of activity during quarantine I've experienced is due to human emotion being at an all-time high and that stress leaching out to every area it can reach. It's just like Ghostbusters 2. That ooze would be fucking everywhere."
This generation, I feel like, is the most anxiety-ridden generation. I don't know, like...
I can't speak for other generations, but it certainly seems that way.
Yes, because so many of us are just, like, high-strung, you know? Big energy. Just like, I know I freak out all the time, and I sit there and there's nothing you can do to fix things, but you're like worrying and you're just full of anxiety and you're panicking and there's nothing you can do about the situation.
I try and not do that. So just because I've seen it destroy people in my life.
I have so many people in my life that are on anti-anxiety medication, antidepressants, anti-whatever they need, you know, to make them feel like they're normal, you know, and
whatever normal is,
whatever their
the normal version of themselves,
right? And so I just think that I can totally see why during a pandemic like this, it's like ghosts are shooting up through the roof.
Everything's kicking off
because there's just, everyone is just so jacked, like so anxious, so just emotionally high-strung.
So horny for normalcy.
Yes.
I don't know what that's actually called, but I think it sounds right.
Got a boner for, I don't know. I'm trying to fit into your dialogue. I can't.
All right. So Candace went on to say, during the worst of it, I would get messages of concern or warning from these souls, generally looking out messages, warning of what's to come, warnings not to let my guard down. So not only did the activity increase, it's basically like these ghosts are showing up like the 3 ghosts of Christmas during like Ebenezer Scrooge's Horrible Night, where it's like, yeah, things have been really fucked up your whole life. Also, things are going to get way worse. or just like, don't let your guard down, things could get way worse. Either way, it's not really, one, I don't want to hear anything from a ghost, and two, that's not the message I want to hear from a ghost. I want the fucking lottery numbers, okay?
Well, we need to check our lottery numbers.
We do.
Damn it.
I don't want prophecies of doom. The Canadian Broadcasting Company actually had an article come out about this as well, where they interviewed a bunch of paranormal researchers. Thanks for the phone call, Canadian Broadcasting Company. Assholes. One stated that spikes in activity like this happen during times of anxiety, stress, and especially tragedy. This was also spoken of by the New York Times. Notable times in the past where I was alive, where there has been quote-unquote spikes from the paranormal researchers, stating that there was like all these reports that are starting to flood in, were like the turn of the century and the turn of the millennia in 1999, when people were really scared about Y2K. Directly after 9/11 saw a spike as well. An article I found referenced the spike that occurred after the Vietnam War, that spike was actually really huge.
Really?
Because it was such a traumatic experience for the country and especially for the troops.
All right.
The article actually went in depth talking about how it was the rise of the popularity of celebrity paranormal investigators. They mentioned a few, and the two in particular that got really famous during this time were Ed and Lorraine Warren. They had been doing it since before then, but that was when people really started to pay attention to them because of how many cases were being reported. So it really makes you wonder, like, is this something that's actually happening, or if it's attached to our emotions, is it all in our heads? And it's important to remember that there are experiments that have been run in the past that have been recorded, in which researchers attempt to literally create a ghost from a fictional backstory. So essentially they created a backstory and said, we're all going to sit around and pretend like this is real and go through the traditional means used to contact quote-unquote real ghosts and see what happens. And the results of those studies are really fucking creepy. Some of the same stuff you hear about seances having terrifying results of like things shaking, knocks being heard, disembodied voices coming from nowhere, happen about things that are basically made up. It's almost like their collective consciousness is working together towards this one goal, are willing this really creepy shit to happen.
Okay.
One in particular is called the Philip experiment. It's very detailed, and that's a topic for a different episode. But that one will send chills up your spine or down your spine or whatever direction you want chills to go on your spine. But I will cover that one in the near future. So is it preferable that we're causing these things to happen from our own emotions, or that it's ghosts? It's really hard to say. For me, it's ghosts, because that means there's an afterlife. You know, afterlife confirmed.
I feel like if it was from our emotions, means I'm just like real fucked up. You know what I mean? If it's my emotions causing something like that to happen, I'm like, I need to chill out.
For me, it's like, if I were to see a ghost, I would absolutely be terrified. But then immediately after that, I'd also be like, oh, yeah, like afterlife, sweet. And I think that would actually relieve a lot of the stress. So I think most of the things that humans fear is dying and like whether or not there's anything after death, you know?
But, okay, so do you want to become a ghost after you die?
I just like to know that there's an afterlife. I'm not saying I want to be a ghost, but being a ghost would confirm there is one. So
I would be afraid
it's pretty
of
fucking
becoming
sweet.
a ghost. I want to get all my stuff done. No unresolved issues.
Well, is that what causes a ghost? That's all we think causes a ghost.
That's what Casper taught me.
There's all these different theories about what could cause a ghost, but again, I would just be excited that the afterlife was confirmed. So moving on, one of the things I thought about when I was writing my script is how different things are for everything during the pandemic. Like you, obviously we covered the things that are different, but like people joke around about how different things are for pets now. Like your pets just want you to leave. Like they can't do any of the things that they do normally when you're at work. Like they just want time to lick their balls and sit on the couch or their buttholes. It just depends.
I was going to say, none of our pets have.
So one thing I used to say pre-pandemic was that I felt like I spent the majority of my waking hours at the workplace. And I feel like a lot of people do feel that way as well. Because if you really think about it, you say like, well, I work 8 to 5 or I work 9 to 5 or whatever that may be. But I would like wake up and get dressed, get ready, get showered, starting at 7 a.m. I would be at work by 8, hopefully, depending on my commute. I would work there until 5, or if I was late, it was like 8:02, I'd have to work until 5:02 or whatever. Leave work, come home, drive for at least an hour, be home by 6 if I was lucky. So realistically, I'm not in the house from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is 11 hours, man. You know, 11 hours Monday through Friday of my waking time has been spent not at home. And if I decided to come home at 6 p.m. and stay up till 2 a.m., meaning I'm only going to get 5 hours of sleep, that means I would spend 8 hours awake at home. You know, at best, maybe I have to go run errands and I'm not home. So there's all this time you're just not there. And that sucks. And it feels absolutely crazy that that is the normal thing that we do. We trade all those hours for dollars so we can do the things that we want to do here and there. But
that's why I'm all about experiences.
Yeah.
I don't work to just save money and then just live miserable, you know, and then you die and you never spent it.
And it's crazy to me because suddenly, like when the pandemic hit and work from home kicked up, it's like everything changed. Like suddenly life was work from home. It was just life from home. You know, like you're always at home. Like they closed everything down, especially during the beginning of the pandemic. And it's just like, please stay at home. Don't get sick. Don't get anyone else sick. Places are closed. You can't even go out if you want to. And it was really a be careful what you wish for moment. I sincerely think some kid out there had some project and he was like, God, I don't want to go to school. Please do something to keep me from going to school. And God's like, all right, like the only thing I got left in my arsenal is pandemic. So there you go, Johnny. Like you fucked over the world.
I'm going to say the only reason why I've been able to almost graduate and actually hopefully graduate this year is because of pandemic and pandemic grading and online classes. So kid out there who had that project who was like,
wow,
I need this. Thank you.
So it's benefited Robin is what she's saying.
Yeah.
So at least there's some good in all the chaos that's happened out there. But for folks who are having this happen, is it just them scaring themselves because they're at home more and they're also scared? Or maybe just having all of your energy and emotions at home is the catalyst like we talked about? Or maybe that's why ghost stories and tales of haunted houses are, in most cases, like, here, like, listen to this tale from, like, the 1800s, the early 1900s. Like, we've seen that meme where it's like, how come ghosts are always older? How come they're not, like, from 2006 saying, like, I'm Britney, bitch? It's like, maybe it's because all of your energy and all of your time was spent in this house, and because of that, you, like, left an imprint. Or because of the time that you spent there and all the emotions you went through, you pulled something out of the ether that normally wouldn't have been pulled out in like today's age because you just don't spend enough time in your house, you know? And now that we're spending more time at home and it's very similar to how we used to be, it's starting to kick all that shit off. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that this isn't just an American thing. I'm not just talking about something from the States or from California or from like Nevada. Like I mentioned the CBC earlier, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, so it's obviously happening in other countries. And it's not just us. It's also happening in Europe. Here's a story about a woman named Madison Hill who lives in Florence, Italy. If we're still thinking about places with heightened amounts of stress, Italy is certainly one of the most negatively affected countries during the pandemic.
Because they had to shut down again.
It was a nightmare. I mean, they had to shut down to start. They were the first country to shut down. They've had to shut down again. I mean, it's been very difficult. So Madison is 24 years old, and she's originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. And she likes long walks on the beach. That last one is fake. I made that one up. Maybe, though. I don't know.
What's your perfect date?
So, what is it? April 26th?
Yeah, something like that.
Because you only need a light jacket. Anyways, she had activity in her home prior to quarantine that was typically focused in her bathroom. The activity included the sense of being watched and the door slamming on its own and towels winding up on the floor, which is very creepy. However, Madison does live with her boyfriend, so it could explain some of those things because, you know, these are things that another person in your house could be doing, especially the towel thing. But if just no one's there and you're hearing these things, it's definitely terrifying. And it got creepy for Madison a few weeks into quarantine when she found a camera lens sitting on her nightstand. And she was like, what is this? She asked her boyfriend, did you put this there? He said, I don't know what that is. She had lost that camera lens when she moved from the United States to Italy and was never able to find it. Her hobby actually used to be film. She lost this very important piece of equipment. She had no idea where it had gone, and then it suddenly just pops up on her nightstand when all this activity is starting to increase during quarantine.
And a camera lens isn't small.
I mean, no, it's like about that big. Like I'm making about the size of a baseball. Everyone's seen a camera lens, and if you're doing it with like a professional camera,
well,
it's not just the
it's
cap.
Like this long.
Yeah, it's not just the cap, you know, for your camera.
Yeah.
It's like an actual lens that's changing everything. So it's really, really creepy that this suddenly starts to appear, and then other objects in her home started to appear in other places, in particular her keys. Now, I'd be really pissed if something was moving my keys. That definitely, again, seems like your spouse messing with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the spouse is like, hey, it wasn't me. And I will say, the next time I do anything that I don't want to admit to, I could probably blame a ghost. I'm not saying that's what this guy did.
I'm not believing it.
But they just started to find random objects all around the house. Some of the stuff that they had lost that they hadn't been able to find in a long time, or some things that they just didn't know where it came from. And they were both saying like, hey, this isn't me doing this. And it's really creepy. It reminds me of a story of my 7th grade English teacher who moved to the area to teach for us. and she bought a house that someone had previously died in. It was an older lady who used to leave Post-it notes all over the place because she was starting to forget things. And her husband used that as a joke, and he started putting Post-it notes everywhere.
I would murder.
Months after they had moved in, and it was scaring her
murder.
more and more until he finally admitted, like, hey, that was me. So that's happening over there in Italy. And the last one I'm going to talk about today, the last one I'll leave you with, is the story of a woman named Janie Cowan and her husband, Will, who had previously been living with a ghost that they had come to accept. They named their ghost Matthew. They thought it was a good biblical name.
Why? I just want to know why people name their ghosts.
What's funny is I have right here, side note, I understand the desire to name something, but if you name it the wrong thing, it's just going to make it worse. Like, what if it has a name and you're giving it a different name? It's going to take offense to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give it a nickname, like Dragon or Nighthawk. Something fucking
That's still
cool.
a name. They don't
It's
know
not,
that it's
no
a
one's
nickname.
born with the name Dragon or Nighthawk on their birth certificate.
No one is born with the name, like,
Matthew?
Belial.
Okay, what are you talking about now? You're taking my joke and putting it in a completely different context that makes absolutely no sense.
Because it's like,
You're saying that this is a demon?
yeah, what if it's a demon?
What I'm just saying is if you have a ghost, which is what I said, if you have a ghost, don't give it a name because it probably already has a name. Give it a nickname. What Robin's saying is, how are demons named Belial? I don't understand.
No. I'm saying, like, if you name some, I feel like you shouldn't be naming it and giving it a name at all. Like the ghost from the Sally house, they gave this ghost or demon, they don't know what it is, the name Sally, and it's just this thing that's still there, still does stuff, still terrifying. I just think that people shouldn't interact with it by giving it names and things like that.
You're making it too familiar by giving it a name.
Yes.
All right. My point was that if you're giving it a name and it's wrong, you're going to agitate it. So I see what you're also saying. So Matthew the ghost was mostly active at night prior to the pandemic. Janie and Will could hear the sound of footsteps running up and down the staircase at night, which I will say is a weird amount of acceptance because that seems absolutely terrifying. These people must have incredible patience, or they just can't move to be like, whatever, I guess we're going to have to learn to live with this. They stated that up front, the noises were not coming from pets. They weren't the house settling. This was absolutely the sound of disembodied feet running on their stairs, and it got worse and more frequent during the pandemic. Janie is a home health nurse. So when the pandemic hit, she actually started working more, and she started picking up more night shifts.
So home health nurses, you go to their house and you take care of them.
Correct.
Okay.
So to keep from waking up Janie, Will decided that he was going to start using the guest bathroom to get ready, which is thoughtful and considerate and romantic.
100.
Basically, Janie's going to come home very exhausted, and he didn't want to use the bathroom that she would have to listen to him getting ready, so he starts using the guest bathroom. This didn't seem thoughtful or considerate or romantic to Matthew the ghost. The couple states that Matthew likes Janie better and does not like Will as much. You would think he would be okay with this, but Will ran into some new activity in the guest bathroom while he would be getting ready. So while showering, Will was suddenly hit with cold water. And I fucking hate it when that happens. And when I first read that, I immediately thought it's the plumbing. Maybe
I know,
someone
it could just be the plumbing.
flushed the toilet, or turned on the sink, or the dishwasher kicked on, or the laundry started, or something like that.
Or it's just a hiccup in the water heater.
Will said none of these things were running, but not only was it weird that he was getting hit with cold water, which had never happened in that bathroom before, but when he reached out while he was in the shower to check, he was finding that the hot water nozzle was completely turned off. So while he's in the shower, and he apparently this was happening when his eyes were closed, I'm guessing during the shampoo portion of the shower, when you can't open your eyes, so you don't want to get your eyes all hurt.
When I was younger, someone did this stupid meme or something like that, where it's like the reason why you don't open your eyes when you do that is because there's a ghost standing there.
No, it's because you don't want your eyes to burn from shampoo. But he was reaching out, and he was realizing something had turned the hot water off in the shower. So he was like, that is really creepy. And if that wasn't creepy enough, this happened to him three separate times.
Okay, I want to be like, oh my god, ghost. But what if it is just a problem in the heating, or not the heating, but in the plumbing that made it
Why
turn?
would the faucet turn off?
I don't know.
That's not something that happens when plumbing's bad. And you have to imagine that you would notice your body rubbing against the handle, even if you were doing it yourself when your eyes were closed. Like if you bumped into it and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the water's cold, you would notice yourself rubbing against it. Most handles need some force to close once the water's running because you're shutting it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is this a real haunting? Are all these real hauntings? Are all these people just really on edge? And what I can tell you from personal experience is being on edge will make you think something is up, because I work from home now, like I mentioned. I'm at home almost all the time. And I was at home the other day, and this is the thing, is that for my mom, who works from home and lives with us, she hasn't had to go through much different routines when it comes to her work, because she's always worked from home. And so when this kicked off, things were a little bit different from her, but not so much. But when I was working from home, I was like, okay, well, I don't have the office experience anymore, but if I need to like walk to the water cooler and get some conversation, like my mom's downstairs in her office, and I can just
water cooler?
Cruise on by. The office water cooler is the kitchen where I can grab some snackies, which is always awesome.
Free snackies.
No kitchen I've ever been in an office had really good deviled eggs before, but we have those here. But there was a day at home where my mom was like, hey, I'm going to go out. And during the pandemic, my mom is high risk, and she is not wanting to get, COVID-19. I don't think anyone else is there. She's had complications in her past before, and she's like, I don't want to experience any of this ever again. I'm terrified of it. So we've been very diligent and very careful. So when my mom was like, I'm going to go out, I was like, wow, this is the first time in a long time Robin won't be home and my mom won't be home, and I'll have the house to myself. And I was like, it's been a while, and I don't even remember how to behave, but I'm supposed to be working, so I'm just going to go back to work. My mom left, and as I was sitting here at the desk, I started hearing noises coming from the attic. And I was like, what the fuck is that? It sounds like there's an animal in our attic. So I got up and I walked into the bathroom to use the restroom, and I could hear it more and more like it was over the top of me. And I really got the feeling like I was not just being watched, but that I was being followed. And it was super fucking creepy. So I went out and I stood in the hallway, and I just stood there and listened, and it sounded like creaking coming from above me repeatedly. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I feel like I remember this happening.
I sent text messages like, hey, just FYI, like, I think there might be something in the attic. I'm hearing some weird noises. I wanted it to be on the record in case I was murdered, because my head wasn't really ghost. It was someone's living in our attic and they're going to come down and murder me now that I'm finally alone. So I, of course, grabbed a weapon just in case, because it's fucking 3 p.m. in the afternoon and I heard some creaking, so why not grab a weapon? And I'm like, man, I am on edge. Like, I am definitely been put on edge by everything that's happening. And I'm like getting freaked out just from being alone, which before would have been like, oh my God, free time to myself. I'm so happy. And I just sat here and I was working and I was like listening, and I could definitely hear it. And the thing that sucks is that when my mom got home first, I was like, I'm going to tell her about it and we're going to listen to it and figure out what it is. It completely fucking stopped. It 100% stopped. I'm like, well, fuck me. I don't know what that is. This is like a month ago. And I still haven't gotten the ladder to go into the attic because, one, it's heavy and I'm lazy, and two, because I really don't want to go up there. So I understand where everyone's coming from when it comes to heightened stress and having these creepy fucking things happen. I will say that has not happened to me again since. But again, I haven't been alone in the house since. You know what I mean? So who knows, man? It's really hard to tell, but I really empathize with all these people that are going through these things and having these weird happenings going on in their homes, because it's supposed to be where you go to for sanctuary and to sleep and to feel safe, and then suddenly it turns against you. And I think that's the creepiest thing about a horror movie or watching something like that. It's like, where are you going to go? And then all of a sudden, like, your presence being there too much is what's kicking this off and causing this to happen. So it's really interesting to think about. Some of these stories were really fantastic going through. I will say before I wrap up my topic, it is very clear the number of hauntings have definitely shot up in this past year, and it's hard to tell what's happening. But if you have had something that you've gone through that you've experienced that you just haven't told anyone, because I certainly considered not saying anything about the noises I heard in the attic, but I was like, just in case I'm murdered and it's a true crime story, I definitely want to bring it up. If you have gone through something where you're like, I just didn't tell anyone, and you do want to share it, please reach out to us. Email storytime@scaryish.com. I do want to hear about your quarantine hauntings, especially if you need someone to talk to about it. And tell us what's going on, and let us know if you want it read on the show and if you don't, because I understand either way, because we're definitely very interested to hear about it. But yeah. I was really shocked to see, just from Googling, how many stories were out there of people saying that things have been haunted. I found a bunch of stuff on Reddit, but as with Reddit, some of these things are not trustworthy.
Like fictional?
Fictional. They definitely seem fictional, where it's like, okay, cool. Like, I didn't realize that you are possessed right now while you're posting this, you know? I don't think the demons...
on the Reddit you're
the demon's first order of business would be to get on Reddit and admit to its own existence, even though it worked so hard to possess you. I think it would go and try and world dominate, or whatever the fuck a demon was trying to do that's possessed a person. But there's been some crazy shit that's out there, and I just want to let everyone know, like, you're not alone. And I totally get what's happening right now. I totally get where you're coming from. So feel free to reach out to us if that's the case. But I definitely wanted to go through some of these crazy quarantine hauntings. So I hope you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Ghosts are scary. I don't know. I think hauntings and stuff like that freak me out. Some of my favorite movies, horror movies, are the ones about ghosts and hauntings and things like that. So
I think the creepiest thing for me is always when something small happens where you're like, you know in your heart, you know in your mind, in your logical mind, like, that couldn't have just happened. But it's small enough where you're like, well, you know, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, I read this story, and I didn't include it, of a woman who was making masks. And her house had always had a really odd feeling to it, but it had gotten worse and worse during the pandemic. And she was making masks to cope. And she had enough stuff laid out for like a certain amount of masks. And she got to the last one, and it was like she had her things in front of her, and she picked one thing up, and then she turned around because she heard a noise, and she looked back, and everything that was on her desk was gone. And she has not been able to find it. It's gone. And she was alone, and she was terrified. And I was like, that's super fucking creepy. Like,
that's terrifying.
But it was like, she rationalized it by, I must have moved it. I must have lost it. And then like, she sat down and she wrote it out, and she put it on this message board, and it wasn't Reddit. I don't remember what it was. But she was just like, no, I'm looking back, and it's like, I know exactly what I had. I had all my materials. I started making it. It was directly in front of me. And in a matter of seconds, it vanished. And I don't know where it went. And it's really starting to bother me the more I admit to myself, this is not possible. So
it's really scary.
Yeah, these things are fucking creepy.
That's like something out of a horror movie. Legit.
And they're kicking off more and more. And the more I realized when I was reading these stories, that's what these things were. That's what these things were. You know, the small things that are creepier.
All the small things.
It sincerely feels like those are all the beginning of a horror movie. Like the inciting incidents where the audience knows something's up.
So we just got to keep
but
up
the
with
character
these people
doesn't
and see if
admit
they
to
get
themselves
murdered.
yet. Exactly. But I don't know if these people are going to be interviewed again going down the road. So there's just no way to tell. So if you have something happening, I want to know about it so we can document it, so we can make sure your story is told if you disappear. And I wanted to tell you mine just in case that happens to me too. So there you go.
Well, I hope you don't disappear.
Me too. I mean, unless it's like I went to Mexico to live on a beach or something like that. So, but thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. And that is the end of my topic. I don't know why Robin's waving her hand in my camera right now, but the fun stuff of a live episode. All right. So before we end, I do want to read through the chat one more time. Again, we're not going to read through everything, but we're just going to go through these and see what some of you wonderful folks have said while we were recording. So scrolling up, Robin's just going to get on her phone, so I guess I'll pull this over onto my side.
Sorry, I'm just checking stuff in.
To see if that company texted you back about the fact they didn't show up after we paid the money?
Yeah.
Scrolling up. Facebook user. Let me see if I can actually find the name of this Facebook user. Hey, Francisco said, is it over? Did I miss it? No, absolutely not. We're still going. We are about to wrap it up, though. But that was 36 minutes ago, so hopefully you got to hear the second topic. It's nice to see that you folks were hanging out throughout that. I see we still have some really solid numbers when it comes to viewers. Girl Panic said they had to go, but they hope the rest of the stream went well, so thank you for joining us, Girl Panic. I'm What's for Dinner says, it seems like when you do what you know is the right thing, God, whatever, whoever you believe in, make sure things work out for you. I will say from personal experience, always trying to do the right thing will almost always get me in more trouble and make my life harder and make my path harder. But it is also the correct path. So I tend to do that, and that's why I've had a lot of turmoil at a lot of the jobs I've been to, because some people are pieces of shit, to be blunt, and I don't tolerate stuff like that. To be
blunt, like, I hate people. Fuck
people suck, man. If people suck and they do sucky stuff, I am definitely one of the people that's not going to tolerate that bullshit. And it sucks when those people are your bosses. So I am so relieved to be at a place where that's not the case. All right, so Librum said that they had to go. They just want to stop by and say hello. Thank you for joining us.
By. Jessica
over there on YouTube says, at the beginning of the pandemic, something in my house was trying to mimic my husband. Ew, thumbs down. Jessica, please send us that story. I need to know more.
Right?
That is terrifying. I thought Robin was aghast, but Robin's mouth was agape because she was about to sneeze. That was so loud. I'm sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, sorry.
Michael Ann over there on YouTube says,
it's not as bad as the one earlier.
Yeah, it's not. Says that sounds absolutely terrifying. That's fucking crazy.
It's like that 2-sentence horror story where it's like, I heard my mom calling me, and then she pulls me into the.
She then pulled me into the closet and said, "I heard it too."
Yeah.
Yeah. What if the thing that pulled her into the closet though was the mimic?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's where my head goes to. Glitch says, "Okay, I love this new view, up close faces. You cannot beat it. LOL. It's good to know." Bob says Ghost didn't like the renovations. That could be too.
That could be too.
That's kind of a joke, but I think sometimes changing something could actually agitate.
Right.
Like if you were a ghost, it was your house, some new people moved in, and your favorite thing about the place was your sink, and they're like, let's change this sink. This sink fucking sucks. I'd be like, all right, I'm slamming your fucking window all night, asshole. Like, I would be disgruntled.
A lot of people are like, this is my house. What are you doing to my house?
Yeah.
Or not people, ghosts. I mean, people could do that too.
I'm watching here says the camera angle makes these mics look huge, almost as big as Adam's head. One, we have new fluffs on we have new windscreens.
But like,
they are big.
They're big in general. Like,
but like perspective wise, they're definitely closer to the camera than we are. So like, this is how big it is.
Now eat it.
I couldn't even put that in my mouth if I wanted to.
I don't think I could either.
All right. Captain Fake Guy says, LOL, this Asian woman in green scrubs, me as a ghost.
That's hilarious.
Laura Ann says, with hair all over your face, that's hilarious because of the story we have for story time. Snark says, I hear Asian woman in green scrubs reminds me of the scrub nurse in Grey's Anatomy. Buki is her name, I think. I don't think I've watched that far into Grey's Anatomy.
I've only seen like 2 seasons, so... Yeah, I haven't seen enough of Grey's Anatomy to know anything. I know that, what's his name, dates someone who doesn't wash her hands for...
Callie?
Yeah.
She washes her hands later. This was said regarding to... When you were trying to figure out a catchphrase for the word, I got a boner for blah, blah, blah. The Snark says, got a boner for not being a loner. That's a good one. I'm watching her says, if I have to haunt my place of employment when I die, I'm going to be pissed. That would really suck. The Snark says, don't you think the veil is thinner because of all the deaths around the world? I wonder if that's the case too. It's not just the trauma.
Yeah. This world is just, or this plane is
passing
just
through it is causing it to be a little bit thinner.
Yeah.
Captain Fake Guy says, I haven't seen a single ghost and I work a lot in hospitals. It may just also be because there are so many people, or there are so many that I just think they're patients though, LOL. That's terrifying.
No, that is terrifying.
She says, maybe I'm also just super tired on call and don't pay attention. That's hilarious. Okay, I gotta go have a dinner to go to. My friend and I are now in the same bubble after a vaccination, and it's a little bit of normal life finally.
Aw,
happy to hear that,
yeah.
Captain Fake Guy, and thank you so much for being such a diligent healthcare worker and taking care of so many people out there. All right, lots of folks taking off, saying bye. Bob said Robin admits to causing the pandemic. That's pretty funny.
It's a horrible thing to happen, but I think some people have benefited from the online portion of the pandemic, trying to social distance. So.
Yeah. I want you to say, hey, Robin, are bridges something that a civil engineer works on?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Ginseng Joe said, gotta go, peeps. See you later. Thank you for joining us, Ginseng Joe. Bob said, Dragon, the Nighthawk. No one got that joke, but that was a reference to Step Brothers when they meet each other. He's like, you have to call me Dragon. It's like, you have to call me Nighthawk. And of course, no one got it. Someone out there during the audio episode will get it, and I will love them forever.
Okay.
So. Scrolling, TNKNY over there, and YouTube says, hi guys,
Hello.
What up? Thank you for joining. Joe says, miss y'all, great show. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate that, man.
The Snark says, I have to work for Scaryish because deviled eggs.
Yeah,
Glitch
right.
says, right.
Not just deviled eggs, but mom's deviled eggs.
Yeah, she makes really good.
And we have this really spicy seasoning we put on top of them too, and they're just, they make your butthole explode. The Snark, that's a Louis C.K. joke.
Okay, I'm like, what?
He was like, what is this supposed to mean? Like, mwah.
Thank you, Joe, so much for watching us.
Like you ate something that was so good, it was just like your butthole just blew up. But, yeah,
you
whatever.
need to trim your nails. Holy fudge.
Yeah, they're long. Can confirm Adam takes care of you if you work with him. Glitch says, that's why they say Ghost moves through walls and stuff. The structure changed, but they don't notice the change. They keep following the same path.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, too. Nefo88 says, been watching y'all from work.
Aw,
Nice. Also, shout out to your work for letting you watch. And if they don't let you watch, shh, no one tell. And I'm watching her says, you may be interested in the Y Bridge in Zanesville. It splits into a Y shape over the river.
Oh, that's cool.
That does sound cool. We will definitely check that out. That is the chat that we have. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us.
Thank you so much. I hope you folks enjoyed this new setup. I hope you folks enjoyed being able to watch on Facebook. That's totally new. I actually thought that that's really cool that you did that.
The Facebook thing is permanent. That will be that way for story times and I was gonna say Panda times. Those aren't. It's because we have games where I work called Panda something or others. Story times and pasta times. So you can join us that way going forward. And yeah, it's been a blast. This was actually a lot of fun to do, and most importantly, we don't have to stay up till 4:30 in the morning tomorrow. We can go to bed at a real normal time. So. No, we're going to get a smog check after this. So.
Oh, and then Michael's.
Yeah, we got pulled over last night.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was our registration's expired. We got pulled over last night, and it was kind of a little bit of a shit show. But
it worked out. They let us go with a warning.
They did let us go.
Thank you, officers, for letting us go with a warning. We appreciate that because you guys definitely didn't need to do that. So.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to mark it, and we're going to move into the actual outro of the show. So thank you so much to everyone who watched live. All right, so I think that's just about everything we have. If you have a story you would like to send us, like I mentioned, we would love to hear it. Please email storytime@scaryish.com or go to our website, scaryish.com, and click on Contact Us. Fill out that form. It comes directly to us. Or hit us up on any of our social medias. You can go to facebook.com/Scaryish podcast. You can also watch the live shows there now, which is pretty cool. You can go to, I was going to say YouTube, but you can go to YouTube if you want and message us there. I don't know how that works. YouTube.com/Scaryish. Twitter is @ScarishPod. Instagram is @ScarishPodcast. If you have a fictional story that you would like to send us, or you would like to suggest an SCP or a creepypasta for us to read, please email pastatime@Scaryish.com. We would love to get that feedback. We've had a few originals sent our way. We've had a lot of SCP suggestions, which I sincerely appreciate. So keep those coming. We love you all. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/Scaryish podcast. Those are monthly donations. Tiers start at $1. At $1 you get ad-free. Can't go wrong with ad-free. And there's the more you go up, there's different things that you get with different tiers. There's a physical merch tier, which is so cool. And we're really thankful for all of you folks. And if you're not into the monthly donation thing, you can go to ko-fi.com/Scaryish podcast. And those are one-time donations. All your donations go to upgrading our studio setup, changing things around. We changed things around this week. And it's thanks to everybody who's donated and supported us. So, yeah.
Indeed. So before we say goodbye, I do want to say that Venus Bow, 12 minutes ago, redeemed a drink.
Oh, okay. So we have to drink one more. Oh, we have to drive. I'll be fine.
This is the good stuff. Thank you so much, everyone. Sincerely, we appreciate you guys hanging out. It's been amazing to see people come out for this, so we might have to do it again.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's just about everything we have for this episode of Scaryish. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.